Okay, so when you need the perfect playlist, what do? You open Spotify, right? But what if I told you that the original playlist creator, the absolute master of crafting a vibe for literally every mood, lived like 200 years ago? Yeah, I'm serious. Who do you think invented the ultimate chill study playlist? We're talking the 1800s version of those lo-fi beats to relax/study to streams, but for the piano. Well, surprise, it's this guy, Frédéric Chopin. And look, before you tune out thinking, ugh, boring old classical music, just hang on. This dude was a total rock star of his time, and his music, it's literally a soundtrack for every single human emotion you can possibly imagine. So let's talk about why he was such a big deal. You can basically think of him as the piano's very first major influencer. I mean, before Chopin, the piano was cool, sure, but he's the one who came along and just took it to a whole new level. He totally changed how people played it and even what they thought it could do. So what was his secret sauce? How did he make music that still hits so hard for millions of people today? Well, it really boils down to two key ingredients in his, let's call it, musical DNA. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, his Polish roots. Chopin was born in Poland, and even after he moved to Paris, he never forgot home. He literally wove the folk songs and the dance rhythms from his childhood into his music, and that's why his stuff has this deep, almost homesick feeling to it. Then you've got ingredient number two. He was living in the middle of the Romantic era. This was a time when artists were like, forget the old stuffy rules. They were all about expressing big, raw, personal feelings. So you mix those two things together, you get this incredible combo, that traditional Polish soul, plus just massive personal emotion. It's an amazing mix. In fact, there's actually a Polish word that just perfectly nails the vibe of so much of his music. It's żal, and it describes this really specific, bittersweet feeling, a mix of longing and sadness. It's kind of like being homesick for a place you know you can never go back to. That's exactly how he felt after leaving Poland, and man, did he pour all of that feeling right into his piano keys. But how did he actually make the notes on the page feel so personal? Well, he used this killer technique called tempo rubato. See, before Chopin, most music was played super strict, like tick-tock, following a metronome. But he just broke that rule. Think about it like this. You know how a movie director uses slow motion for a really dramatic scene to make you feel it more? That's exactly what Chopin did with sound. He would subtly stretch time, speeding up a little here, slowing way down there. And it made the music feel like it was alive, like it was actually breathing. Honestly, it was a total game changer. And this all brings us right back to that playlist idea. See, Chopin didn't just write one kind of music. Nope, he was basically curating different tracks for specific moods and feelings, building the ultimate emotional playlist, all for the piano. All right, let's dive into his playlist. First up, the chill tracks. His nocturnes are perfect for this. The word itself literally means of the night, and that's the vibe. They're like these beautiful, dreamy musical poems. So if you ever need that perfect, moody, beautiful music for some late night thinking, yeah, Chopin's Nocturnes. That's your go-to. Okay, but what about when you're in the mood for some drama? For that, he gave us the ballades. And get this, he was the very first composer to call a piece of music for just an instrument a ballade. They're pretty much epic movie scores, just without the movie. They tell these huge stories full of tension and drama and big climaxes, using nothing but the piano. It's wild. All right, for any of you gamers out there, you know those boring tutorial levels you have to grind through before the fun starts? Yeah, that's basically what piano exercises, or etudes, used to be like. They were super dry, totally boring, and their only purpose was to build up your finger muscles. But then Chopin came along and completely hacked the system. He took these crazy hard technical challenges, I'm talking like the final boss level of difficulty, and he fused them with some of the most beautiful music you've ever heard. And the result? He pretty much turned the boring tutorial into an epic boss battle that was so cool, everyone wanted to watch it. Seriously, his etudes became these legendary masterpieces that were played in huge concert halls. And even when he was famous and his music was being played in the biggest concert halls in Europe, he never ever forgot where he came from. It's kind of like putting your country's flag in your Insta bio. Chopin did that, but with his music, especially with these two Polish dances. First, you have the mazurkas. They're more intimate, kind of swaying. They really capture the heart and soul of the Polish people. And then you've got the polonaises. These are big, they're grand, heroic. They're like a musical shout-out to the power and pride of the Polish nation. So, okay, we've got this incredible playlist of emotions. But the big question is, why are we still talking about and listening to a composer from the 1800s? Well, it all comes down to his massive, and I mean massive, never-ending legacy. So here's the rundown on why he still matters so much. First off, he didn't just write pretty tunes. He totally rewrote the rulebook for the piano. He pushed the instrument to its absolute limits. The kinds of harmonies and sounds he came up with, they went on to inspire composers for decades, guys like Debussy. Plus, he was the one who really proved that a single person on a single piano could be the main event, could hold an entire concert hall totally captivated. But at the end of the day, his music is just pure emotion. And that never goes out of style. Really, if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Chopin's greatest achievement was proving to the world that just one instrument, this box of wood and strings and hammers, could express the entire range of human emotion. Everything, from the quietest whisper of sadness to the loudest, most powerful shout of joy.
So, what's the main takeaway here? It's simple. Chopin used the piano to create a timeless, emotional soundtrack for all of human experience, for all of us.
And that leaves me with one last question for you. If Chopin could take a feeling like being homesick and turn it into a masterpiece, what everyday feeling from your life would you turn into music? You know, like that feeling when you finally beat a super hard video game, or that anxiety you get right before a big test, or just that pure joy of the bell ringing on a Friday afternoon. Just think about it. That's the incredible power that he unlocked in music.